Hello, my name is Toni and I have my colleague here.
Jorg, hello.
And we are going to talk about platform engineering today. Is it a just new hot buzzword, or is there something really feasible, tangible behind it? So to go through the contents that we're going to talk about today, we're going to first go through what is platform engineering, and then we're going to talk about a few problems that we have seen with Jorg, and then we will go through a couple of those problems a little bit more into deep dive, and after that we're going to end that with ending words, some words of wisdom. So what is platform engineering? Platform engineering is focusing on how to make developers' life easier, how to remove any obstacles that they have in their daily work, how to kind of help their daily work, and it focuses on also on making this internal developer platform, removing any obstacles that there might be, and it's not entirely tech-related methodology. It focuses on people too, removing any communication boundaries, bringing teams together, bringing platform development, business, and operation teams together. It's all about communication, building respect, building trust, and removing obstacles and focusing on people and communications.
Yeah. So to give you a little bit of an overview on what platform engineering actually is, we created a small little overview, and it consists of this. So you have DevOps, but it's not entirely on the platform engineering Lego, because DevOps is more than just platform engineering. Along with cloud, which is also partially part of platform engineering, since cloud is much bigger than platform engineering itself, but it has to do with it. So then we go to the next one, which is the developer experience. Developer experience is basically what platform engineering is about. You want to make it a little bit more focused for developers and want to create a good experience for the developers. Next to that, you will have a platform team. And the platform team, what will they do? Well, they will support the entire platform engineering stuff that has to do with it, with building templates, guidelines, and of course, building an internal developer platform. But we will not focus on the internal developer platform today, since it's a topic on its own. Along with that, there's a lot of other things that we have. Notice them right here falling. But of course, it will come down to the ones that we will discuss today. So what problems does platform engineering solve, actually? First and for all, platform engineering tries to aim to create a uniform way of working within an organization, thus trying to eliminate the inconsistent behavior that is growing within the team's approaches towards deployments, for example. What else? When focusing on an internal developer platform, building templates and guidelines, it tries to reduce the developer overhead, making sure that developers can really focus on their core task instead of doing everything related to infrastructure provisioning, for example. With that in mind, and with the internal developer platforms, the templates and the guidelines, it automatically will break down silos, making that communication will be much more easily. And then it tries to eliminate miscommunication so that you can align your business needs and your developer needs much more easily. With that, everything is more transparent, which makes that you will have a more unified tech landscape. And then with the internal developer platform upon that, you will have, for example, a software catalog that you can use to make sure that you can have a holistic view on your IT landscape. With that, if everything is transparent and all of your operational tasks are available for the operational teams to see it, they will have a reduced risk to have operational bottlenecks, since the operational teams know exactly where the development tasks are and how to execute them. So, problem number one, productivity developer is low.
Yeah, this is the one problem that we have seen quite a lot in our customer companies and ourselves. How to measure developer productivity? Well, time to market is slow, feature development is cumbersome, it takes too long time, it's not accurate. So how platform engineering comes to help here is that it will promote the use of shared components, common practices. It will bring more automation, more shared policies, and it will help to remove any boundaries, any obstacles from the developers and development teams. It will free the developers' time from mundane tasks, and they can focus on more high-value stuff that they do. And one thing that we have seen that, and has been researched, that it is even over 60% developers' time that is used on building infra, and only 15% that they are using their time to do actual coding. So I think there's a room for improvement over here. And I think this will also lead to that developers are more happy. Job happiness is increasing, and I think the happy devs, happy life saying here is really point on with the platform engineering.
So, problem number 2, scattered practices. Scattered practices is actually a term to define how organizations function within their specific domain ecosystem. It actually comes down to different teams with a common goal, taking different approaches, but trying to achieve the same outcome. In an IT context, that roughly translates to development, then deployments, and then going from development towards your go live, actually your continuous delivery. We can see from experience that organizations really struggle with implementing this from A to Z, and that often topics like security are forgotten. In a more loose context where the governance is not as tight, and in an agile environment, there's a big chance that teams really have different approaches towards the entire deployment. And while this is necessarily not a bad thing, it can be that specific applications require specific deployments, it could be a violation of the dry principle. Dry meaning don't repeat yourself. In a bigger context where you have a lot of departments, the dry principle violation could lead to a significant impact on the budget. While this is not really visible, and since the repeatable effort is not really something you can see unless you really look into it. And next to that, you will also have less uniformity inside of your whole organization, which is because you have different approaches towards deployments. Covering that, it's possible that all of those different approaches to deployments might be that they are not in line with policies or standards from your organization, meaning that there will be a plethora of small to very big differences inside of your deployments, which is something we want to avoid. So how will we solve this scatteredness of practices? A simple solution can be just made up in 3 words: uniformity, idempotency, and consistency. What we're trying to do here is adhere to the rules of platform engineering. And what we want to do is we want to create a uniform way for developers that use that practice, which takes idempotency as a rule to eventually create consistent deployments over the entire organization. But this sounds like a big job, and we don't want to do that all at once. So let's try to minimize the effort at first and then see further. So how will we do this? We'll try to create some sort of pods in the 80-20 rule. So for 80% of all pods that are taken within the organization, most likely developers, we will create a golden path. Golden paths are something we will discuss later, but for the remaining 20%, we will have these own practices that developers can just create, branched off the golden paths, or just create it from scratch if deemed necessary. So what are golden paths actually? It's actually just predefined tools and templates for you to use, so you know exactly where to start from. They are opinionated workflows, which means that they're specific for specific environments or specific organizations because they have specific needs, of course. But that doesn't mean that generic workflows will not work. Then tooling, which means that we can use several tools that are available for us to work with, so we just don't need to read off a document, think about scripts, and so forth. Then we want to make sure that these are all according to best practices, not just the industrial ones, but also the organizational ones, making that we have a good, consistent way of working. So what is actually then one of the examples? We'll start with infrastructure provisioning. So environment consistency is something big. We want to make sure that the environments that we use are consistent over the entirety of the organization. Second, we want to have automated validation. This means that once we go in towards a specific workflow, that we have everything automatically validated, so it's easier for developers to know if their code is correct. And then we can have pre-built IIC modules, meaning, for example, on reference designs, we can create specific modules, or we can have multiple modules or resources that are commonly used together. We just put them in one module for developers to use, so they can be up and running faster and more easy. And then there's an entire category within the continuous integration, like, for example, code linting, artifact management, and so forth and so forth. So our ending words, we want to make sure that you also are aware of the dangers. So platform engineering will not solve everything. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, like I mentioned before, and it takes time. It's very important to know that it takes time, and time equals money, so it also takes money. There's a big impact on budget here. And it can be very difficult if you're starting from scratch, and there's multiple ways not to start from scratch, but just take your time and it will be worth the wait.
And some words of wisdom. You really need to commit to change. You really need to kind of have the mandate to operate and make the changes. You need to be really kind of ready to have those changes done. And that comes to the point too, you really need to communicate people. You need to be vocal, telling people why we are doing this, how we are doing things, and what is the end result. You need to prove what is the value for platform engineering. And also a couple of points that use lots of emojis in communication. I think that really helps. I don't have any data to back this up, but real-life examples have proven that it works. And also stay away from Jira. It's not a communication platform. It's a task management system, and you need to use something that is built for communicating and not a task management system. And then be brave, be brave.
Exactly. That's the most important one.
Yeah. And then to the summary slide also.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is platform engineering? We have gone through some of the parts. It's a methodology. It's a human-centric, and it focuses on developers. It strives toward more uniformity, and we have shown a couple of examples how to do it. What you can do it. You can increase the developer productivity on it, and you can create golden paths and eliminate scattered practices with it. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jorg.
Thanks.
And I see you around.
Bye-bye.